I am recording. There. And here and here. So I'm going to record here. I think we're ready. All right, here we go. Intro.
Thank you. Thank you so very much for tuning in to this month installment of the 19 Report. I am your host, Brother Johnny. I walked a thin line between right and wrong. Took my fears to God, then I wrote this song. The spirit kept calling, so I answered the phone. And then I manned up and got some backbone. My mind resonates at a much higher tone. Solid foundation, empire zone. 3 mountains, I'm in one. Right to left counted, 9 and then 1. Left to right, switch it, 1 and then 9. West to east, south to north, a thin line. I know Christ exists, cause his mercy allows me a chance to stand 3 on a square. Yeah, we in there.
Okay, Brother Johnny, the 19 Report, Groove 19 Promotions like it is. Also on the Truth Show with Dale Castro Powell. I thank everyone for tuning in. I just stumbled on that intro. That was an intro for my iHeart Radio show. I used to have a radio show on iHeart Radio. We still have the show on Apple, what do you call it? Apple Music or whatever. We still have our podcast on there. You can join up with that podcast on Apple Music. I think that's what they call it. And also on iHeartRadio. We got a lot to cover today. So I'm going to take my time. This is part 2 of, this is actually part 3. We did 2 parts to Sin of a Woman. Part 1, we got into some of the details of women. Part 2, we talked about the copulin. So I want to go into the opening, and then I want to go into something very important. I'm going to take my time, God willing. Give me about an hour and 20 minutes. And I understand if you can't stay on. To anyone that's saying something on the board, I appreciate it. But the real estate of having people to listen to your show, comment on your show is very, very important. But the only people that I would like to listen and comment are those who want to listen. Don't feel obligated to be on with me. I'm just doing what God tells me to do. And it's different than what you're accustomed to. It's different than what you're accustomed to. And if God has been telling us to do the same thing all of this time, and we're still getting the same results, then maybe something needs to change a little bit. So back up a little bit and give me a little bit of room. And if you can't say anything good about what I'm trying to do, then try not to say anything at all. I'm feeling a lot of bitterness from people. He thinks he's so smart. He's this, he's that. Well, I don't want to be dumb. And I'm grateful to God for giving me information and telling me what to read and where to get it from. And I choose, by God's permission, to share it. That is a choice. And I love it. I absolutely love it. But if I only have one person listening, then that's just one person listening. I listen to my broadcasts all the time. And I find a lot in them. And sometimes I'm like, did I say that? So you can wait until the person you choose decides to say a thing and get it from them. That's your business. But as long as I've been raised up to this position to talk, I'm going to talk. I'm not a clapper and a shouter and a singer. I'm a talker. So this is the 19 Report. I am Jamil Salib Zamir out of Manning, South Carolina. Today, as promised, I would come on about organ harvesting and missing black children, missing black adults. Again, you're not going to put me in no category of a racist. I can't be a racist. I don't have racist power. I've never done anything to harm a white person in my life. I never called them cracker or anything to their face unless it was warranted. I did slap a couple of them, but they hit me back. We fought. But it was for a reason. So when I'm talking from a black perspective, I'm talking from the perspective of what I know and what God has given me. So again, thank everybody for tuning in now. In the first part, again, this is part 3 of commentary. The first part was Sin of a Woman, and I talked about Hosea, about being ordered to marry a woman of whoredoms and why he was commanded to do so. We talked about how God was preparing Hosea and how God prepares us. Reverend Antonio Green just made a very great statement of when God prepares you based on your life experience. That is your mission. Don't let anyone, and I'm paraphrasing, don't let anyone take you off of your mission. You know what your job is. Don't you allow anyone to take you off of your mission. That is the very first lesson in the Bible. Adam and Eve allowed Satan to take them off of their mission by simply saying, oh, did God say that? Did he really say that? Nah, he just don't want you to know what he knows. And from Genesis to Revelations, they never re-entered the Garden of Eden. Understand that. In Revelations, God got frustrated, not so much frustrated, but he was through with this earth the way it was with the people, that he let loose the angels and they destroyed everything. Then it says there was a new heaven and a new earth. So the lesson was never learned. Understand that clearly. Out of all of the holiness and righteousness, all of the prophets, all of the messengers that were sent, the lesson that God intended from the book of Genesis was never learned. So the people never got back to the Garden of Eden. Not even the ones who went into the promised land. They destroyed that too. And our children today are destroying their opportunity at the promised land. So let's go into this. We talked about the whoredoms. We talk about Hosea being prepared for his mission, for a time when the world would turn to whoredoms for satisfaction and comfort. And I said that we are all whores. All of us are. Everybody whoring for something, giggling, scratching, buck dancing, giving up sex, whatever it takes, acting like you're stupid, not wanting to study, taking someone else's word for something, whatever it takes to be a part of the clique, that's what we do. So we lie, we cheat, we steal. The only way around this is to come out of this world. That's Revelations 18:4. If we stay in it, we have to play by this world rules. And this is Satan's world. Now I want to go to 1 John 5:19. It states in the English Standard Version of the Bible, we know that we are from God, and the whole world lies in the power of the evil one. Of course, we are all from God, but the whole world lies in the power of the evil one. That's what the book says. So I don't get tickled by it. I'm tickled by it, but I'm more frustrated by it, I guess. People who act holier than thou, like they don't do any wrong. That is the detrimental state we put ourselves in with Facebook and social media. And before I go any further into the subject for today, I want to read something. My monitor is up here. I'm not going to look at the screen over here. I apologize for that. To anyone that wants to post up something, you can post it up. That's fine. But I don't want to get distracted with that because I just don't want to get distracted with it. Anytime I have a commentary to do, I don't even like to go on social media during the day. And I went on the day and posted up something and got disturbed by it. So I don't even want to look at the screen. Whatever it is. I just want to do God's will, and that's to share the information now. What I want to talk about now is coming out of Pocket Worthy. And the title of it states, this is not the commentary yet. You know, I get on my soapbox first. The commentary says, the title, a 2-year study of more than 5,000 people shows that one activity destroys emotional and physical health. 2-year study. The one thing that we don't like to do is study. We don't want to learn. We just want to know. And now in this age of Febreze, and I call it Febreze because I'm always picking at my son. Every time I come in the house smells like perfume, cologne, and I'm like, what are you doing? Oh, the chair smelled bad, I sprayed it. The bathroom smelled bad, I sprayed it. I said, did you clean it? Nah, I just sprayed it. Well, then it's going to smell bad again. So we're in this cycle of Febreze where we just want things to look good, but it's not good. Smell good, but it's not good. Taste good, but it's not good. So we don't want to know. We don't want to learn. We just want to act like we know. Everybody is holy now, and if you try to do the right thing, then you're bad for that too. So let me read this real quick, though. I read the title. It said, a 2-year study of more than 5,000 people showed this one activity destroyed your emotional and physical health. Now I want to read this. My monitor is up here. That's what I'm looking at, and down here. It says, want to stay healthy, both emotionally and physically? Research from UC San Diego and Yale. Yeah, that's Yale now. Yale. research from Yale, have some simple advice for you. Limit the amount of time you spend on Facebook. While this may sound like typical anti-social media crankiness from academia, this time they have some impressive research to back up their case. Holly Shakya, assistant professor at UC San Diego, and Yale professor Nicholas Christakis spent 2 years. 2 years. They studied. They didn't just assume, they studied. 2 years following 5,208 adults who are all part of a Gallup long-term study. After asking permission, they monitored these subjects' Facebook use directly from Facebook, rather than asking subjects to report their own use. People often don't realize how much time they spend on social networks. And they check in with subjects on their emotional and physical well-being, as well as their emotional mass index, BMI, 3 times over the course of 2 years. Overall results showed that while real-world social media were positively associated with overall well-being, the use of Facebook was negatively associated with overall well-being. Why? The research wrote in Harvard Business Review article. These results were particularly strong for mental health. Most measures of Facebook use in 1 year predicted a decrease in mental health in later years. The more you use Facebook and the more we lie to ourselves, the more we decrease in our mental health. Why is too much Facebook bad for your emotional health? This is the part I want you to pay attention to. Because I'm considered the devil on social media. I'm just the worst thing that ever happened to me. So negative. Everything's so negative. But listen to what it says. Previous research has shown that the social network creates a sort of false peer pressure. Since most people are cautious about posting negative or upsetting experiences on Facebook, the social network creates a misleading environment where everyone seems to be doing better and having more fun than they really are and than we are. As the research puts it, exposure to carefully curated images from others' lives leads to negative self-comparison. So people are becoming highly depressed because of social media, because all we want to talk about is all the good things. And when a person talks about relevant things, although it may be considered negative, it's necessary. The negative grounds you. If you're grounded when the lightning strikes, you may not die. But if you're not grounded, the lightning goes through your body, you die. So the negative is, we're pushing that out. And we want to pretend like we're always in this great mood all the time. And this is doing a disservice, especially to the young. And it's doing a disservice to humanity, because who do you talk to when everyone pretends they're doing so well? So I deliberately post up things that are not from the other side. I post it from the other side. And I don't mind the comments that you make, but when you begin to accuse me of judging and being negative, and you go out and spread that mess to other people who don't even know me, I have a problem with that. Because if God ever sends you someone with a message, you'll miss it. Because you're so busy looking for someone who's just telling you good things. And the Bible says in it that the people started saying, don't tell us no more bad stuff. We will pay you to tell us good things. Tell us that everything we're doing is good. Well, I'm no fool. And I'm not a foolish person. And I know my life. And I know that my life is not the greatest, nor did I do the best things. But if God ever gives you a message to tell, you devote your life to that regardless as to what the people think of you. So if you think I'm weird or crazy or whatever you want to label it as, fine. Give it 5 years. And everything that I'm saying, someone else will be saying it. And to this day, people will take posts off of my page, go to the source of the post, and instead of citing me for posting it up, they'll act as if though they read it. They put it up there. You could care less about what's going on in society. You getting them bags. You're drinking your liquor. You're smoking your weed. You're screwing everything you can find. You're so holy, you could care less. But I care. And people like me care. And there are thousands of us. We are a community. All right, let's go. 1 John 5:19. Now we're going into the subject matter. It won't take long. We're 14 minutes in. Give me an hour and 10 minutes, God willing. 1 John 5:19 says, we know that we are from God, and the whole world lies in the power of the evil one. You can put it any way you want to put it, Jack. If you're reading the book, the Bible correctly, you will see exactly what I'm saying, and it won't be so weird. You want it to be weird because you got a problem with me personally. Every single friend I thought I had from kindergarten to today, I don't have anymore. You got problems with me personally. I fought 4 of you. Not because I instigated the fight, because you had a problem with me. And you found out that I wasn't that easy pushover dude that you thought. And I'm still not. Even in not so good health, I'm still not. You're not going to discredit me with your mouth when you're doing nothing. And most of you are doing nothing. Now, once our minds accept the abyss of evil thoughts that dwell within it, there is no limit to what we are willing to do in order to satisfy that sinister urge. In fact, God allows Satan to feed our evil desires in order to bring out the worst in us. I'm going to say that again. God put Adam, Eve in this garden. He told them what not to do, and then he told them what they could do. He didn't sit there watching over them. He left them there to test them, because in each individual there is an evil. So all of you impressive holy folk talking about how holy you are and how great God is, you're not tested with nothing. You don't have no more sexual desire, so a man don't test you. You don't want to be around nobody, so you happy being alone. You're not tested there. Your biggest test is your gossip, running your mouth for the women. And for the men, your biggest test is messing with someone else's wife, even if you're not able to do it. Your biggest test is seeing who you can lie on, get over on to better your life and hurt other people. We're talking about missing black youth and organ harvesting, but I got to get this in perspective. We're almost there. This is not going to take long. But I want to put this on Front Street for all of you holy folk. Your time going to come. You keep on playing that role. It's going to come. And all that mess you did that you thought because you forgot it. Many of you ministers in this town, y'all remember I used to hustle, right? Y'all remember y'all used to come across town, yes? Many of you business people, Federal Mogul, other places, you remember me? You do. You know I wouldn't tell your business, but you know I know. Excuse the phone call. It's going to ring and ring and ring. And once I start talking, it's on. So I'm going to hold off for a minute to the recording. I'm going to keep talking a little bit for the recording's sake, but I know it's not coming through on here. It's going now. And it's going to call back. People are going to start calling. You know, everybody got something to say once I start talking, but only after I start talking, then they got something to say. And that's fine too. But we're tested. So God allows Satan to feed our evil desires in order to bring out the worst in us. Not for the world to see, but for us to see and try to correct. We have the opportunity to fix ourselves. But we are so busy pointing the finger at other people. It's their fault. It's Johnny's fault. It's Jamil's fault. He's so bad. He's such a bad person. And you know what? Nobody is defending me. What I'm going to do but defend myself and ask God for his protection. But you're not going to run ahead of me and talk bad about me when you're not saying nothing. You can stay in a church all day long and say, Jesus, 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 God, 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 beat. And everybody can jump around for an hour. But at the end of that, other than a good feeling, what have you given the people? And I am close to a lot of ministers. I am close to a lot of pastors. But I don't bite my tongue when I have something to say. And I don't think they expect me to bite it. But why I don't get invited to the all men's conferences? Why I don't get invited? Because we have these little secret groups. And these little secret groups are what's going to cause us to lose a lot of time in trying to save our children. We're talking today about myth or reality, blood on our hands, missing black youth, and organ harvesting. Once we surrender moral consciousness and submit to unconsciousness, we are near death in the spiritual world and feeling alive in the material realm. And that's where we are right now. Everybody feel alive in the material world. Won't God do it? Won't he do it? What did he do? I got a car. I got a house. I got a job. Did your mind open up any? No. Your soul open up any? You feel in the spirit? I ain't know. But you go to church every Sunday? So our idea of God and doing is material, and that's it. That's it. Most of us are overweight. We could care less about that. Most of us are diabetics. Our young girls are filled with disease from HIV to gonorrhea to syphilis to mononucleosis, and they're not going to the doctor because they don't even know what the problem is. Same thing with the young boys, filled with disease. And the older people who are filled with disease and know how they got it will not reveal that to the young. They'll die with it with them. Talking about they being private. You would rather see your next generation die from things that you can correct. We're dead spiritually and feeling alive in the material world. Sin makes us feel alive. Yet in sin, we are unconscious. This is why zombie movies, shows about the dead, Walking Dead, we love that stuff because that is us. Now I'm going to go into something, and we're going on in. I got a 7-minute and 50-second clip I want to play. Then I'm going to close it out. We are 20 minutes in. I said, give me an hour and 10 minutes, God willing. Now, we're talking about organ harvesting, missing children, the Bible warning, all of this stuff. Now, we are the walking, talking, functionally dead. We don't want to admit to that. But I'm going to prove that first. And then we're going to go into the topic. It's sad that you got to go this route to let people know that you're not some idiot just talking, just rambling on. Look up the information for yourself. But God willing, stop with that negative stuff about Jamil. When it was my birthday, I got almost 100 and something happy birthdays. But when I put up a post about stuff like this, I rarely get 2 views. 3 views, 4 views. Oh, he talking that negative stuff. We will see how negative it is in the years to come. I will tell you this. In 1987, when I moved to New York City, they already had unisex barbershops. They already had unisex bathrooms. You can go in a bathroom in one stall. A woman is in another stall. A woman and a man in another stall having sex, snorting coke, whatever they were doing it in New York then. I went out on a date with a transsexual Spanish male. I liked the guy from work. We went out, but he was dressed as a woman. Well, it wasn't no big deal to me. We watched Poltergeist 3, I think. And after we watched it, we went to the park, had a great time, fun in the park, and then he went home, I went home. So this stuff that y'all are spitting now, that was in 1987. And anybody from New York or any city can tell you that stuff has been going on. So don't put any of that garbage on me about hating gays and hating lesbians and hating white folks and all that extra mess. That's foolishness. But the reason you use it is because of the mindset. We are the walking, talking, functioning dead. The name Negro is its origin and evil uses is a book by Richard B. Moore. The name Negro, its origin and evil uses. Now let me explain this to you. And I did say explain. Explain. The key to understanding what a Negro is this is in quotes from Richard B. Moore. The key to understanding what a Negro is to understand the definition of that word and the origin. The word Negro is Spanish for black. The Spanish language comes from Latin. which has its origin in classic Greek. Should be known because we studied this in high school. The word Negro in Greek is derived from the root word necro. Necro means dead. What was once referred to as a physical condition is now regarded as an appropriate state of mind for millions of African people. So when you call yourself a Negro, you're saying, I'm dead. Now the term nigger, the term nigger is probably the most offensive. This is in the English dictionary. The term nigger is probably the most offensive word in English. Its degree of offensiveness has increased markedly in recent years, although it has been used in a derogatory manner since at least the Revolutionary War. The sense labeled extremely disparaging and offensive represent meanings that are deeply insulting and are used when the speaker deliberately wishes to cause great offense. Now, we care very little about our worldly image. We are individuals now, and as long as I, and the people that appear to be successful with me, our little group, our little team, as long as we're doing well, to hell with everybody else. So what I talk about for the whole, there's a class of people that get angry with me in this town. They're called the upper echelon. The nerve of you to tell those Negroes what we're doing to them and how we're manipulating them to gain from them. See, you give your money to people who don't care nothing about you. I'm coming to a point about missing black youth and organ harvesting. Our lack of concern for what's going on in the community and how we take on face value what anyone says to us. We don't investigate it, but you will tell me that I'm the worst person, I'm a hater. You don't investigate my life. You never talk to me, but you will take on face value what someone else says. So here we are, a group of people who tells you what to think, how to think, and who have learned how to manipulate you and I based on worldly techniques. The selfishness of the Negro, the nigger, however you want to call it, and every other derogatory term that we have adopted and accepted is the reason why we can be used by every other race, including our own, and surrender to the abuse. And some of us fall in love with the abuse. That's called Stockholm Syndrome. Look it up. And will kill anyone that tries to get you out of this abusive situation. That is the movie called The Matrix. Neo was trying to get people out of an illusion. They wanted to take the blue pill because that means you stayed in the illusion. To take the red pill means that you saw the reality of things. Sometimes when you come into the reality of things, it's so horrible that you want to go back to sleep. This is real life. I don't want to go back to sleep. As stressful as knowing what I know is on my life, I know that God is real, and I don't want to go back to sleep. I want to stay representing what I say I believe. We'll kill anyone that tries to get you or I out of this abusive situation. Satan has fooled the most ignorant to the very elect of God, and it says it in the Bible that if it were not for God interceding, Satan would fool the very elect. So people that you admire, you need to look closer at because they are not God. They may be a god of this world, but most of them don't have your the bulk of the concern of the people on their mind. They're thinking about their advantage, and absolute power will corrupt absolutely. And it is corrupting people that we put in positions of power. It is corrupting people that have a little bit more and they understand how to play the system. We're talking about organ harvesting, but I'm trying to get you interested enough and concerned enough about yourself and your people that you'll listen to the 7-minute and 50-second clip that I need to play. Now, abusive situation, Satan has fooled the most ignorant to the very elect of God and has fragmented our hard drive to the point that it is corrupt and can't be repaired. I'm going to say that again. From a computerized point of view, the brain is 10 times as powerful as a hard drive. But over from 1555 to 2019, Satan has been working on fragmenting our minds. And our minds are so fragmented that it can't be repaired. It will have to be replaced. And so the scripture talks about this new heaven and this new earth that has to come into play, because we will not listen. We will not turn around. The old are not going to turn around. They've benefited from their belief system. Technically, they've benefited from the world that they have accepted, but they contributed to their belief system. You played by the rules of this world, you got the benefit of this world. How you get your house? Well, I went to the military and I fought for my country and I got 100%, 50%, 80% disability, and I do this, I do that. We played by the rules of this world. Everybody doesn't do that. So we all see things from a different perspective. But you can't, for you to say that another person is crazy because they don't see things your way, they should be allowed to call you a damn fool as well. And that's what I'm telling you right now. For all of those who wants to challenge me, I'm 50 years old, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. And see, what happens is when a person comes out and they come out raw, then all of a sudden, oh, he ain't have to do all of that. Yes, I do. I do have to do all of that. You're taking my livelihood from me by running your mouth, always side-swiping what I say. Many of you are very good at that. What is your problem? There is a delete button, an unfriend button, an unfollow button. Do that. I don't mind criticism and rebuttals, but when it's empty and nefarious, we're into it. We're doing just fine. It will have to be replaced. So the scripture talks about destroying the old and bringing in the new, and a new earth, new heaven, because the old one could not be repaired. We are, and I want you to pay very close attention to this, we are Humpty Dumpty. And no one, great or small, can defragment the Negro. No one, although many have tried, can put us back together again. Now, you were just introduced into a high science of nursery rhymes, because every single nursery rhyme, 99% of them are talking about black people. Humpty Dumpty is you. You had a great fall, all the king horses, all the king men. We can't put you back together. You're broken. We're broken. And we will rather find problems with each other than solutions with each other. So before you can say this is the problem, you have to present a whole case to people so they won't be able to debunk what you're saying. And I caution people, if you don't listen to my whole commentary, we're 30 minutes in, don't comment on anything that I'm saying, because you're not listening to learn. You're listening to fire off and respond. Like you get a reward for attacking someone trying to do the right thing. Well, what is your reward for that? A cookie? A picture with someone in power? Well, what is it? Do you get a raise on your job? You get a better home? You get a better feeling inside you? I just don't like them. I don't care that you don't like me. Just stay out of my way. I don't like you either. I don't. I hate you. I hate what God hates. Understand that clear. But I got love for you at the same time, and love for what we can become. And that is God's position. He hated what Adam and Eve had inside of them. So he backed away and allowed it to come out. But he loved them still, because he didn't kill them. He just cast them out. Grow up and study more. Then come talk to me. All right, I want to play this clip. We're talking about organ harvesting, and I wanted to read something else, but I think I'm going to go with this right now. Everyone is getting into it, to the sex trade, into the slave trade, into organ harvesting. When our children are snatched away from us within hours, they are on their way through a sophisticated system that will have them in another county, in another state, in another country within days. And these children, young adults, whomever they may be, we will never see them again. Now, I can't remember the name of Jordan Peele's movie. Get Out was about organ harvesting, snatching children right off the street, snatching adults right off the street. How do they do that? You put on your license that you are an organ donor, and on that license, if there's a person in a position of power that needs a kidney, a lung, a liver, an eye, a cornea, anything that can be cut and reattached, they very well may have the power to make that happen. 99.5 or 8% of the internet is called the dark web. On the dark web, I would advise you not to go on it, but if you could hire a hitman to kill somebody. You could buy children for sex. You could buy illegal weapons. You could buy drugs. You could buy women. You could order them according to specification. And someone will take the contract on that order and fulfill that order. They had a little girl. Let me see if I could find the article from out of. Yes, here it is. See if I can put that up. You won't be able to see this on the phone, but I'll load this back up if I'm able to do it. It says update. Deputy says missing teen in Sumter County is found safe. Very beautiful young girl was missing, and she was found safe. What's happening to our young girls? They are being attracted to men that they perceive are of consequence. They are being attracted to these hardcore guys that understand the sex trade, that understand $5, $10, $15, $20, $25,000 for a young girl. But she has to have a certain look. And once they sell you or introduce you, I want to introduce you to my boy. This is my boy. And you hopping in his nice car, and he takes you off to North Carolina, or he takes you off to someplace you've never been, Atlanta, and you never see home again because you have a desire to be grown before your time, or he turns you out with sex. You smoke so much drugs, you drink so much liquor. Most of the young girls, 16, 17, as I said, you're so filled with disease that once they examine you, they find that they can't use you because all of your organs are already damaged. You're not taking care of yourself. But a young girl in Sumter, thank God she was found safe. But here we have another article, and I'm going to jump through all of these things, trying to stay on point. That is not one. I can delete that. There was a DJ out of Florence, South Carolina. And here it is. It was on News 15. And it says, popular DJ charged in human trafficking case. White guy. These young people, what they do, they get you caught up in that champagne lifestyle, young girls, young boys too. And drug you, and before you know it, you're all the way overseas. You're in Dubai. You're in Bahrain. Your family will never see you again. This is happening. It's happening in South Carolina. It's going to happen even more. I did a commentary in 2015, I think, had Sheriff Leon Lott, other people on, young lady talking about how she was 15 when her mother sold her into, I think 15, when her mother sold her into sex trafficking. And once they're finished with you, if they can't use any of your body parts, later on you found dead somewhere, they can't use you. So a popular DJ, white guy, and black ones do it too, found guilty of sex trafficking. Now I want to play a clip for you. It's 7 minutes and 50 seconds. You'll be able to hear it on here. I think it is off of Tariq Nasheed's Hidden Colors 4, talking about organ harvesting. But I want to read this first. This is out of Psychology Today. It says body snatchers are organ harvesting for profit. This is going all the way back to 2012. A young African girl was kidnapped and brought to the UK for the sole purpose of harvesting her organs. She was one of the lucky ones, rescued before she went under the knife. Now you see all of these celebrities adopting these little black children. What they adopting them for? From out of Africa. I'm not accusing anyone of anything, but I need you to open your mind and think. Think for a minute. There are thousands of young boys and girls that are lost, that have never been found. They haven't even found all of the children from Hurricane Katrina yet. Did you know that? Did you know they were taking those children up in helicopters and the children were never reunited with their families? A kidney goes for $7,000. Some say more, some say less. The average buyer spends $150,000 to $200,000 for the kidney. The donor gets $5,000. But what if you don't want to give the donor anything? Cut out the middleman. You just find someone that is a broker, and they are organ brokers. I want you to understand this clearly, God willing, because we are too free with our children, and we are too free with the people that we allow around our children. And we're thinking that they're safe. You finally got a man that's screwing you right, and you want to leave him at your house with your boys and your girls unsupervised, and he's smoking weed all day, drinking liquor all day, and the marijuana from yesterday is not the marijuana of today. The THC level is through the roof, so it's causing psychosis. And if they're not molesting the children, they're trying to figure out a way to make money off of the children. They had a case in some years ago where the mother was pimping out the son's girlfriend. That was a bad situation. Now I want to read this little piece of article from Ebony Magazine, Ebony News. Says why the crisis of missing black girls need more attention than it's getting. And then it shows an academic study analyzed new coverage of missing children and found that only 20% of reported stories focus on missing black children. They did have the Find Our Missing, I think, on BT, or no, on TV One, I think. I don't know if it's still on because I don't have cable anymore. It says, despite the fact that black children account for 33% of total missing children cases, in other words, missing black youth are grossly underreported in the news. For missing girls is even worse. When black girls go missing, far too many people don't know or don't care. Now, I'm going to tell you all something that I felt. And I was really praying that they would find little Nevaeh Adams, rather she was deceased or alive, rather better alive. But if she was deceased, I prayed that they would find her remains. And the reason I prayed that, it's when I heard about it, it's like the event played in my mind like a movie. I saw the mother come in. Either she caught the man having sex with the little girl or trying to take the little girl out of the home under duress for profit, for either sex trafficking or for organ donating. That's what I saw. Not that it happened, that's what I saw. And I lost sleep over that. The older lady, she's no good. Like I said, we're so filled with disease and illness, we're no good on the market. But the young children, and when these men and women come from the cities and they understand the black market and how it works, be careful with these people around your children. And I prayed that dead or alive, they would find little Nevaeh Adams, because I felt like part of the story hadn't been told. Like maybe she was sold, maybe she was kidnapped, maybe it's more than just I threw her in the trash. This is what we're up against. Young girls, and they didn't put out an Amber Alert. Remember that. No Amber Alert. Why? Why didn't they do that? It says as of 2014, and this is not something I want you to run back and tell the family. This is just what I felt. I didn't reveal it like that, but I know that, and I'm going to play a clip for you in a minute, and I want you to listen closely. It's only 7 minutes. We're 41 minutes in, 20 more minutes, and God willing, we'll be done. I won't be able to finish with all of this, but I think we're getting the point across. You can type in pound black girls missing and perhaps be able to look at some of the pictures and maybe identify. You know, every time I go into Walmart, I look at the missing pictures of the people on the wall. Most people don't pay it any attention. Ain't my child. That was my point. We're so self-centered now. When we have voices in the community, we have people with wrapped cars and big businesses, and they travel all around. We got senators and mayors and all of these people of color that can do and speak, and people would listen. We got all of these business owners who just, all of y'all are just clicking together. Y'all are the cream of the crop. Y'all are the best of Manning. Yet, you hear very little about, and let me tell you all something. I'm a taxpayer. I'm a registered voter. I'm not a felon. I'm not a criminal. I have a right to speak. And I don't give kudos to everybody because of the color of their skin. That's not my game. That's not my stick. I don't play that. And most of the people want you to praise them because I'm somebody and I have a position and you should lord over me. I do not play that game, and that's why you don't see my face in a lot of things. Don't invite that guy. He's trouble. Although I've never started any trouble. Now, NNPA Black Press. 47 million people visit this site. And the title of this article says, Epidemic of missing black girls continue to stump authorities and frustrated parents. And it has one thing I think for sure about the missing teens is that human trafficking is a hotbed in my city and around the country, says psychologist and Navy veteran Cherie Davis. See, that's using your power for the right thing. Who lives in Madison, Alabama. I think it is very easy for the courts and police to turn their heads turn their head the other way and not deal with the problem at hand. See, that's what a taxpayer has the right to do, to speak. Now, when we spoke in the past, kill them. But God is not allowing us to die so easy now. And if you have any white friends who don't want you to talk about black issues, they're not your friend. You their slave. I'm friends with people who I can talk to you about what's going on with me. You can talk to me about what's going on with you. We have an issue. Little black girls lost, who run away from home, who hit the street early, who get involved with drugs early, and then get caught up with the wrong people. And our own people, black women and black men, are selling these young girls. And they are being sent so far away. The woman from Colombia in the interview said she was in China, Mexico for years. Black girl, too, talked about it. It's up on the website, the 19 Report. Look it up. This is what is happening to us. Isaiah 5:20-23 says, Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Woe unto them that are wise in their own eyes, and prudent in their own sight. Woe unto them that are mighty to drink wine, and men of strength to mingle strong drink, which justify the wicked for reward, and take away the righteousness of the righteous from him. So we justify wickedness, and we turn a blind eye to things we know we should say something about, but we're not going to say nothing. In 2019, wickedness is winning. And you can jump and shout all you want, but I'm telling you, there's always somebody in the midst that knows who you are. They may keep it quiet, but they know you. They saw you at the club. They saw you butt naked with another man, another woman. They saw you snorting coke. They saw you doing the things that you get up and claim that we shouldn't do. And at any given time, look at Paul Mooney. Paul Mooney, who has spoken vigilantly on behalf of black people in the black situation. Now it comes out in his old age that he raped and molested Richard Pryor's son when he was underage. Richard Pryor had $1 million hit out on Paul Mooney. Him and Paul Mooney were friends. Remember, they did the movie together, Bustin' Loose, I think. They were friends. Somebody knows. So let us stop all of this holier than thou stuff that we spitting and kicking. We know hoe. We know pimp. You just reversing things and you conveniently forgetting what you are and what you were. God says that he will throw it all in the sea of forgetfulness at the right time, but you want to do it right now because you want to act too holy. I'm telling you all, when I find out you're saying something about me, God has given me the authority to start pointing fingers, and I point them. So you do best to say nothing, because for 35 years I said nothing. Y'all don't think I know those dudes that had sex with my wife? Y'all don't think that I know the ones of you who said you were going to call the police and rat me out because I was making more money on the corner than y'all did? That y'all stole my money from me? And many of y'all now got businesses and still owe me money? You think I forgot? Wicked is winning. Satan is winning because Satan keeps rolling the dice. And we keep playing the game. Satan's time has expired. Satan only had 6,000 years. That's all. But because we refuse to see Satan, to identify Satan, to completely rebuke Satan, he continues to live and thrive in our desires to have what he has. We don't see no other reality but this one. And all we want is what this world has to offer. And when we can't achieve it, we start cozying up to Satan. We start cozying up to death. This is fact. Now I want to play this clip. I want to say this. Omar Epps did a movie. It's called Traffic, Traffik. It didn't get much attention, but his girlfriend was one of the pretty ones. They were going on a trip, and the sex traffickers saw her, and they wanted her. The movie wasn't, it had a point to it, but it just didn't fill itself out well. But you can kind of understand where it was going. Now let me play this. You can hear it on the phone, and the video will be up on when I upload. It's 49 minutes in. We got about 20 more minutes. I'm going to play this and let it play. Listen to it carefully, please. Make sure the volume is up. Here we go.
Body parts. They've been selling body parts. That's old. That's not new. That's why black people don't like to go to hospitals. They go to get their toes clipped, their fingernails clipped, and they wake up and their foot's gone.
They've been utilizing the organs of black people for years, the organs and the body parts and the members of African American people, and that goes back to George Washington. There's a long time myth that George Washington had wooden teeth. We've heard that myth growing up in school. The reality is George Washington did not have wooden teeth, because common sense will tell you you can't put wood in your mouth, it gets wet, and wet wood is useless. What George Washington did, he had the teeth of his African slaves yanked out of their mouths, and he made dentures out of these teeth. And they're on display. His dentures are on display at museums right now. And that just goes to show the history of African people having our bodies mutilated and our members disfigured and mutilated for the betterment and benefit of the dominant society.
In America, at least 2,500 black people go missing every year. At least. Never to be found again, not killed enough, you just don't find them again. Why doesn't that number ever go down? How can you constantly have the same amount of people? Are you trying to say the same killers go out and murder the same amount of people every year? No. Somebody is taking black people off the street. There's been stories on this. Kidnapped by the government, kidnapped by organ traffickers.
Drive-by shootings is organ stealing.
I'm worth $50 million and I need a kidney. And you know, kidneys are pretty sensitive. You gotta find somebody who really got the kidney that matches yours. You think I'm gonna wait till somebody die for me to get one? If I don't get one soon, I'm gonna die. So guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna pay somebody to go research people. Okay, let's go look at all the black organ donors. Let's look at all the black people who got organ donor on their driver's license, which is why I'm not a friend of that. I say, if you wanna donate your organs, put it in your will. Say that if I die, this could go to my family, my relatives, my friends, or whomever. But when you put it on your license, I believe you make yourself a public target. And so what did they find? We got a guy in Los Angeles. He has the same blood type as you, same kidney type as you likely. He healthy though, he ain't likely to die no time soon. He don't know you, so he ain't gonna give you no organ for free. So guess what we're gonna do? We're gonna arrange a murder that makes it look like he was in a car accident. We're gonna arrange a murder that makes it look like he committed suicide. So the next thing you know, you coming out the gas station, boom, you get hit by a Mack truck, you dead, gone. You get taken to the funeral home, your family come to the funeral, they don't know that before your body got laid to rest, a little hole was poked and they pulled your kidney out.
A lot of people don't know, when you get arrested or even when you get convicted, a lot of times law enforcement or police will swab your mouth for DNA. And now they have your DNA record on file, they have your genetic information on file. And you have to understand, with law enforcement, a lot of times they'll sell your information to tabloids and, like, especially celebrities, they sell their information to tabloids and magazines and news outlets all the time. So it's not a stretch to believe that they won't use your DNA or your genetic information for nefarious reasons.
You, my son. Cops come by and inform me you just been shot dead. You don't have jurisdiction over that body. That's the coroner. You can't get that body till the coroner release you. So we'll get released, we go down and pick it up, and I see all these cuts and these stitches. I just thought they was doing a routine investigation following the family. I didn't know they took your organs. I'm under all this stress, my son is dead. Now you buried now, I can't dig you up because the court got to have permission. Most of those cases is organ stealing.
It's been known for a long time, even back in slavery times, that black organs were considered superior genetically to other folks' organs. For example, whenever there's a transplant, okay, especially when rich folks get heart transplant, liver transplant, kidney transplant, they like white, they like black organs. We had a famous case in Pennsylvania, Governor Casey, who was one of the most racist governors who ever lived back in the late 80s, early 90s. He had a heart transplant. Guess whose heart they gave him? A black person's heart.
Down in Georgia, there was a case of an African-American 17-year-old kid who was found mysteriously dead at school. He died in the gym, they did an autopsy and they buried him. His family, they weren't satisfied with the results because they still wanted to know what happened to their son. They had the body exhumed, found out that his organs were missing and his body was stuffed with newspapers, and people are still trying to find answers. The officials down there in Georgia, they act like they don't know what's going on. There was another case out here in California. A young African-American man was found dead in Death Valley in the desert. All of his organs were missing. His liver, heart, lungs, kidneys, all gone. There's a case in the UK recently. A Somalian girl was brought over there for organ harvesting. They found out that they were going to harvest her organs and they stopped that. There was another case in Asian couples. They went over to Africa. They adopted a black girl. 2 weeks later, she was dead. So these cases of organ harvesting are just going on all over the world, and people are being real quiet about it.
The Rodney King riots. The cops arrested 18,213 black folks. They couldn't account for 10,000 of them.
That's what happened in New Orleans. Remember when you saw those helicopters? They were picking up all them black babies and taking them up in the helicopter. And my husband and I sit there and said, we wouldn't have sent our son with them. I don't care who they was. We'd all died in the water together. We wouldn't have sent our baby up there. And they never got a bunch of those children back, as we all know.
Organ harvesting in Africa, it's a business. In fact, they've set up so many sophisticated places around the so-called third world where there are nations like France, England, New Zealand, Israel. All these places now are looking in the impoverished areas because mostly in these impoverished areas like Brazil, places in South Africa, right here on this continent, wherever there's poverty, there's crime. And wherever there's crime, you know there's a lot of deaths and there's a lot of shooting.
They are killing black people for their organs. Think about it. Organs are the only commodity that people must have to live that you cannot buy in a store. So if I am sick and I need a heart, I can't buy that. And we know all the problems with the fake hearts, that they can give a pacemaker to a bad heart. But what about when the heart needs to be replaced? You gotta find a match, and it ain't none on the donor list, and I'm worth $50 million, and I could care less about black people anyway? Guess what? Somebody gonna get shot in a drive-by.
Switch over to Haiti. Jean Bellerive, at the time, he was the prime minister at the time when Haiti was hit with that earthquake that killed over 130,000 brothers and sisters down there in that island. They had a report on CNN with Jean Bellerive, and he said specifically that there was organ harvesting and child kidnapping going on.
And we have already reports of a lot of trafficking, even of organ trafficking.
Of organ trafficking?
Yeah.
Now?
Now, already.
Of the victims of the earthquake?
Yeah. So,
do you know that for sure?
Yeah, I know that for sure, and it was discussed in Montreal during the conference.
I'm going to stop that right there. We have 56 minutes and 57 seconds, a few more minutes. I want to point out a few of the places that are very lucrative. As I said, your child unsupervised walks from the bus stop, van pulls up, they pull them in the van, or they knock them into the van as they're walking, or they pull them out of the store or whatever, because our children, they're so unruly, they're going to do what they're going to do, and we're not showing them how to survive. As I told you, my son was left by a very popular school system, church system. He was left in Columbia, South Carolina by himself at 13 years old last month. But I taught him, by God's permission, don't show panic on your face, and don't panic when you are afraid. Just get in touch with me, and I'll talk you through it. And he did that. He called me, and we had to go pick him up, and we're in a legal situation with that right now. But that could have easily, because Columbia is number 3 in sex trafficking and things like that. So I am encouraging us to try to listen to other people other than the ones we favor, because your favorites are going to say whatever they have to say to keep you locked in. I don't have a church. I don't have a membership or anything that I got to keep you satisfied in order for you to stay. So by God's permission, there are things that myself and many people like me can say that others won't say. They can't say. They are afraid of losing you. They are under contracts with other people. So I hope this has been beneficial. But I want to point out a few places. Right after they snatch your child up, you're talking about sending them to Mexico. These are the places where our children are being sent. Mexico, Costa Rica, Peru, Turkey, Egypt, Pakistan, India, Sri Lanka, China, Cambodia, Vietnam, the Philippines, Singapore, and all the way over in Indonesia. We're never going to see these children again. And see, when you run it with a bunch of people talking about they kings and queens and all that, but have no system set up to do anything for themselves, got to wait on somebody to go search for our children. We don't have anything in place to get immediately on it. You're not a king. You're not a queen. I don't want to bust your bubble. And the thing that you hate about me is that I bust your bubble. But I'm realistic. We don't have any power. We don't have anything of resources. Most of us don't know anything about anything. We don't even know CPR. So all of this king and queen stuff is just talk. We love talk. I'm getting the bags. You barely get a paycheck. You ain't get no bags. You get these used BMWs and stuff and hype them up, and those cars are no good. The first time it tear up, I guarantee you won't be able to fix it. $2,000 to $3,000 for maintenance on them things. You ain't gonna be able to fix it. I'm not impressed. Our children are dying. Now, I want to give you a list. Some say it's less, some say it's more, and then we're going to close. Just for the cornea, you're talking $30,000. For the lungs, $150,000. For the heart, $130,000. For a liver, $98,000. For a kidney, $62,000, and you got two of those. This is where we are. This is the reality of what's happening. It's not a game. And with us, we just want to have fun, out of sight, out of mind. And then it's on our doorstep, and we don't have any contingency plan to do anything for ourselves. And you wonder why black women could care less about most black men. Because all we can do is stand, march, and pray. That's why. That's why. Now I want to close with this. We were talking about organ harvesting, and a lot of this stuff just comes right out of the Bible. You can see it, but you don't want to see it. Let's go to Hosea 4 and 6 of the King James Version of the Bible, and we're going to close. 4 and 6. But actually, it's 4 and 6 all the way down to 14. But I want to read fast. It says, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. You know that part. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, you don't know this part. All you know is my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me. Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God, I will also forget thy children. Now, God, according to the book, now we know this book Bible has been tampered with and manipulated and maneuvered around and twisted and then given to us and then taken back and then rewritten again to make us docile. But let's get the best out of the book we can get. And it says the law, be forgotten, because we have forgotten the law of God. There is a universal law of God. And we have forgotten it. Because we have forgotten that law, I will also forget thy children. As they were increased, so they sinned against me. Is that true? Therefore, I will change their glory into shame. Is that happening? They eat up the sin of my people, and they set their hearts on their iniquity. Is that happening? And there shall be like people, like priests, those who read, Jesus, Lord, those cats. Yeah, them. And I will punish them for their ways and reward them their doing. What is your reward? You got the people hyped up. They give you money. You got a Cadillac and a nice house and some other chicks on the side. That's your reward. But you've done nothing to resurrect the minds of a dead people. Number 10, for they shall eat and not have enough. See, they shall commit whoredoms and shall not increase, because they have left off to take heed to the Lord. Whoredom and wine and new wine take away the heart. No heart whatsoever. Just apologetic, cowardly, but I kill that nigga Keith, though. That nigga, I don't like that nigga. That nigga. My people, as counsel at their stock, at their staff, declareth unto them, for the spirit of whoredom hath caused them to err, and they have gone a whoring for unto their God. You ask for counsel. God, give me something. Give me a big house. Give me a big car. Tell me how to get it, Lord. But never tell me how to fix my broken self. They sacrifice upon the tops of the mountains and burn incense upon the hills unto oaks and poplar and elms, because the shadow thereof is good. Therefore your daughter shall commit whoredoms. What your daughter gonna do? And your spouses shall commit adultery. What your spouse gonna do? Yeah. And listen to number 14. I will not punish your daughter when they commit whoredoms, nor your spouse when they commit adultery. So here we are telling our children, when you do something bad, God gonna get you. But God says, nah, I ain't gonna get them. I'm gonna let them go on with what they're doing. I ain't gonna stop your wife, your husband. I'm gonna let them go on with what they're doing. I will not punish your daughter. when they commit whoredoms, nor with your spouse when they commit adultery, for themselves are separated with whores, and they sacrifice with harlots. Therefore, the people that doeth not understand shall fall. As I said, we are the walking dead. We are a fallen people, fallen so far from grace that we like titles more than we like the reality. So you a queen, you a king, you a queen, you a king, with no queen qualities, no king qualities, none. Only crown we got is crown royal. Closing, Revelations 1:3, King James Version of the Bible. Blessed is he that readeth, they that hear the word of this prophecy, and keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand. I sincerely thank y'all for tuning in to this installment of the 19 Report. I am Jamil Salib Zamir. Please share this information if you find that it's helpful. Ignoring it is not going to fix the problem. You have to learn that for yourself, though. 15 years from now, somebody will be saying what God has given me to say and others to say, and that's 15 more years that we are stuck deeper in a hell that we could have been out of by now if only we would listen to wise counsel. Thank you for tuning in, Brother Johnny. Jamil Salib Zabir, the 19 Report, Manning, South Carolina. I'm going to stop you.